Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your go-to place for deep dives into South African politics, policy, and the stories shaping our nation's future. Today, we are unpacking one of the most contentious and far-reaching developments in South Africa's labor landscape, a new bill approved by Cabinet that aims to regulate the employment of foreign nationals across key economic sectors. Now, whether you see this as a necessary move to protect local jobs or a potential risk to business stability, one thing is clear: this decision will spark debate nationwide. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our in-depth political content. And of course, drop a comment down below to share your views, especially on this issue, because it affects millions of lives. Let's get into it. So, what exactly has happened? Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni recently announced that Cabinet has given the green light for the tabling of a bill that could significantly change how foreign nationals are employed in South Africa. This bill is part of a broader effort by the government to implement the National Labour Migration Policy, a long-anticipated strategy that seeks to balance the needs of the local labour force with the realities of a globalized economy. At the heart of the bill is a controversial proposal, introducing employment quotas for documented foreign nationals in industries like agriculture, tourism, hospitality, and construction. These sectors, which are labor-intensive and often rely on low to mid-skilled workers, have historically employed a significant number of foreign nationals, both legally and illegally. But government officials now believe it's time to reprioritize, to ensure that South African citizens are considered first for these jobs in a country where unemployment has reached crisis levels. Let's put this into perspective. South Africa's official unemployment rate stands above 32%, one of the highest in the world. Youth unemployment. Even worse, with over 60% of young people out of work. That's the context in which this bill is being introduced. For the government, it's a matter of urgent national interest, reclaiming the local labor market for South Africans who have been left behind by a stagnating economy and rising inequality. But the bill doesn't stop there. Cabinet has also endorsed reforms that would limit foreign nationals' ability to acquire business visas in specific sectors. This comes in response to growing complaints from South African small business owners who say they are being pushed out by foreign traders, especially in township and peri-urban economies. To address this, amendments to the National Small Enterprise Act are being proposed. These would effectively bar foreign nationals from establishing certain kinds of small, medium, and micro enterprises, or SMMEs, in restricted sectors of the economy. And there's more. The Employment Services Amendment Bill, which has also been approved for tabling, will provide the legal framework to enforce all these new changes. This bill grants the Minister of Employment and Labour the authority to set quotas on a sector-by-sector basis and to crack down on labour brokers, a key issue given how many undocumented workers are channeled into the system through unregulated middlemen. The goal here is to prevent exploitation, curb illegal employment, and restore dignity to the country's labor force. Now let's talk about the real hot-button issue: enforcement. We've seen plenty of well-meaning laws in South Africa fail because of poor enforcement. Whether it's corruption, lack of capacity, or just outright indifference, there's always a risk that these new regulations could go the same way. But this time, government says it's serious. Cabinet has instructed that consultations must be fast-tracked to define exactly what counts as scarce and critical skills. Why? Because if certain industries truly do need foreign labor to function, the state needs to know exactly where the gaps are, and make sure any quotas or restrictions don't do more harm than good. But as with all things, there are two sides to the story. While the government insists this is about protecting local jobs, critics, especially economists and some civil society organizations, warn that the new bill could have unintended consequences. Sectors like agriculture, hospitality, and construction often rely heavily on migrant labor to stay afloat. In some cases, it's because these jobs are physically demanding, low-paying, and seasonal, making them less attractive to local workers. In other cases, employers simply claim that foreign nationals are more reliable and willing to work under difficult conditions. So, the big question becomes, are we solving unemployment, or are we risking economic contraction? It's a delicate balance. The government says that by identifying scarce skills and investing in local skills development, South Africa can eventually fill the labor gaps with its own people. And yes, that's a long-term goal worth pursuing. But in the short term, a sudden pullback from foreign labor could hit productivity, inflate wages in vulnerable industries, and even drive some businesses to shut down or relocate. On the political side, this bill could also be read as a response to rising public frustration, not just with unemployment, but with the perception that undocumented migrants are overwhelming public services, undercutting wages, and taking advantage of South Africa's relatively generous human rights protections. These sentiments have been bubbling for years and have even boiled over into outbreaks of xenophobic violence. By introducing legislation that appears to put South Africans first, the ruling ANC government might also be seeking to neutralize political threats from populist parties like the Patriotic Alliance or Action SA, who have made immigration a core election issue. With elections always looming on the horizon, political calculations are never far from policy decisions. So what happens next? Now that Cabinet has approved the bills for tabling, they will go through the parliamentary process, which includes public consultations, committee debates, and eventual voting. That means there's still room for civil society, industry bodies, trade unions, and the public to influence the final shape of the laws. But make no mistake, the direction is clear. South Africa is moving toward a more tightly regulated labor market where citizenship will matter more than ever in determining who gets to work, trade, and build a business. This is a massive shift, and its implications will be felt not just in the job market, but in our politics, our economy, and our social cohesion. So, what do you think? Is this the right step to prioritize South Africans and reduce unemployment, or is it a politically convenient move that could hurt the economy and fan the flames of xenophobia? Let us know in the comments section, we read every one of them. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back soon with more analysis on the policies shaping South Africa's future. Until then, take care, and see you next time.